Hi everyone. We are the team in charge of the Edwardian Period. My team's names are confirmed by Laura Alexandra Barrera, Liliana Ortega Figueroa, Harumi Carrillo Rodríguez, Rose Karen Estrada, Vilma Gómez Padilla. In these presentations, we are going to talk about this period. Let's start with my classmate, Laura.
Well, the Edwardian period, which officially lasted from 1901 to 1910, includes the regime of King Edward VII. However, the period is often extended to include outbreak of the First World War. The Edwardian period is sometimes described as a romantic golden age of long summer evenings and gorgeous parties, enjoying a sun that never sets on British Empire. American literature has one romantic period, but usually we speak of romanticism. We refer to this great and diverse era of British literature. Perhaps best known of all literature epochs, one of the characteristics that distinguish Edwardian novels from other periods is that during this time there was a significant difference between popular literature and high literature. And the work of this period reflects the changing social, political, and cultural climate and are diverse, experimental, and non-traditional. The Edwardian period is considered a time of great social and economic change. This period was a critical time for the campaign for women's suffrage, with suffragettes leading a high-profile campaign for women to get the vote. The Edwardian period is often referred to as the heroic age of exploration. The next one, please.
Okay, I'm going to talk about characteristics. This period had been passed in the 20th century. In the first decade of this century, this period appeared, and its name was because this period was in charge of Edward VII. This was the son of Queen Victoria. The Edwardian period was characteristic by elegance and luxury among rich and powerful. I have to say that people were living this period were so luxurious and they were rich. Also, the clothes that they were dressed in that moment were so classic. As we can see in the pictures, women wear big hats and elegant dresses. This period was broken 4 years after the death of King Edward. Next one, please. Another characteristic that this period had was literature. Literature was so important for rich people because they thought that pen is mightier than the sword. That was about to be realized. Also, Edward period was marked by realism and colonial romances. Talking about realism, it was a time that Joseph Conrad appeared. That was a great writer because he had sense of subtle humor. And another characteristic was colonial romances. In these colonial romances were stories that talk about romance, and but romances were criticized a lot by literature. Uh, Principally authors like Achieve. For me, that's all. Next one, please.
Well, I'm going to talk about the authors. First, we have Edward Morgan Forrest. He was born in Londres on January 1st in 1879. He was died in Coventry, England on June 7 in 1917. Then we have a Kenneth Graham. He was born in Edinburgh, UK on March 8 in 1859. Padborn, he was died in Padborn, UK on July 6 in 1932. Edward Morgan was a British novelist. Kenneth Graham was a British writer. The two best book was The Wine in the Wildwas and The Reclutant Dragon. Then we have a Pelfan Greenville Woodhouse. He was born in Guildford, UK on October 15 in 1881. And he died in New York on February 14 in 1975. He was a British humorous writer. Then we have a Max Ford. He was an English novelist and publisher. His real name is Ford Herman Ufer. He was born in Merton on December 17 in 1873, and he died in Deauville, France on June 26 in 1939. We have a Joseph Conrad. He was born in Bernich, Ukraine on December 3 in 1857, and he died in Bishopsburg, UK on August 3 in 1844. Then we have an Evelyn Waugh. He was born in London on October 28 in 1903, and he died in Combo, Florida on April 10 in 1966. Joseph Conrad, he was a Polish novelist, and Evelyn, he was a British novelist of the first half of the 20th century. And Nancy Mitford, she was born in London on November 8, and in 1904, Paris, France on June 17, and she died in 1973, and she was an English novelist and biographer. Harumi, your microphone.
Your micro is mute.
Okay, sorry. I am going to talk about the Edward period, was also known as the believed epoch of the beautiful era. Despite its short premise, the period shares characterized by its unique architecture, styles, fashion, and lifestyles. Modern is particular has a strong influence. The next. Okay, I am going to talk about the literature. Some of the most distinct writers are Herbert George. Uh, she was born in September 31 in 1866 in London, and she died in August 13, 1946. It's better known as a Welsh was a British writer and novelist, and the other was John Glassworthy. It saw the decisions of the main members of a upper middle class British family. He was born in August 1468 in London, and he was an English novelist and playwright. His most notable works include the saga of the Four Stalls. You can change, please. Okay, I am going to talk about the novel works. The first was an outline of the university history. The other was the time machine, the invisible woman, the invisible man, and the Island of the Dr. Marriott, and War of the Wars. Can you change, please? Okay, the first was outline of the universal history. Is the title of the set of the history books by the acclaimed English author Herbert George. Herbert George is published in 1808 and republished several times. In 1849 edition, it reaches the end of the Second World War. In 1845, the book contains a total of 8L2, 42 characters gradually recording the most important history events. You can change, please. Okay, the other was The Invisible Man. It is a science fiction novel by British writer. The work was originally published in installments in Person magazine in 1897 and as a novel the same year. Griffin managed to carry out his process on himself, but is unstable become visible again, reaching an unstable state of the mean. Can you change, please? Okay, the other was The Island of Dr. Mirror is a science fiction novel written by H.G. Wells in 1896, introduced ideas of the social and the community, human, natural, identify playing God and the Darwin. It is earliest known describe of of invasion of the Earth, and it has a daunting dose of sequency abundant the revision of this very idea. Its well novel has been made numerous adaptations to different media, movies, radio, show, video games, comics, etc. The other, please. Uh, it was the Battle of the Worlds. It's a science fiction novel written by Ian G. Wells as a Fridge published in 1898, which described Martian and invasion of the year. Can you change? Okay, and the last was the saga of the Forsyth. In English, the Forsyth saga is a series of the three novels and two immersions published between 1906 and 1931 by John Glassworth. And it's all for my part.
Importance. The Edwardian period was important because it was a time of great social change. Authors like Kipling, Forster, and Conrad captured this change in their poetry, prose, and essays. It is also the last period in British history to be named after a monarch. Can you change, please? The end of the Victorian era marked a new beginning for literature in the land with fresh ideas and greater need leading the way. Edwardian literature would go on to be more intense, social, and political for ages to come. Edwardian novels will go on to start a new style of writing that will be prevalent for a long time to come. Can you change, please?